and Katie with Dirt Time Adventures here, and this weekend we are out at Sigma 3 Survival School. And today is a little bit different than last week, a couple weekends ago, where I came out to really just get a feel for everything. Today it was all about incorporating my family into what I'm doing. And I'm very fortunate. I have a very supportive wife and kids who are all about me pursuing my passions. But there's a key principle to getting your family on board with your passions and your interests, and that is incorporation. You got to get them involved. And if they're not involved, they'll never understand why you do what you do. And you'll constantly be butting your head against a wall trying to seek their approval and seek their understanding. And so I got Mrs. Dirt Time Katie out today to help talk about the philosophy of incorporating your family into your wilderness living and survival and bushcraft and primitive skills lifestyle. What are some of the little things that husbands and spouses can do to get their significant other involved in the outdoors?
Just cater to them. Make sure that you're teaching them and showing them things that you know, and teach them how it's useful and what it's for. That way it doesn't look like you're just a kid out playing in the woods.
So beyond just initially getting your family involved in the outdoors, what's the greater purpose? What's the long-term goal for a spouse in getting their significant other involved? There's got to be more value to it than just bringing them alongside. What are some of the significant long-term values of getting your spouse involved?
A lot of times men have the stereotype of sitting at home, flipping through the channels, watching TV, and not really doing anything around the house. And getting out in the woods as a family, it's pretty cool to get to see the man do his thing and be out in his element. And for the women who want to see their husband work, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. But some of you guys got that die-hard girly girl woman who doesn't like the idea of creepy crawly, snakes, bears, Sasquatches, and chupacabras in the night. They just don't want any part of it. And maybe you've been butting your head wishing that you could get her involved and get her to be a part of what you're doing, and she seems to share no interest in what you're doing. And that can be very frustrating, it can be very challenging, but there's definitely some things that you can do to get them involved in the outdoors. And so, all right, so Katie, for those women who just are completely against the idea of getting into the outdoors with their husband, what are some things that, and I'm talking most stubborn women that just do not want anything to do with it, what are some things that their men can do to help incorporate them and get them in the outdoors?
Well, I would say start by taking them out in the summertime when it's warm, when there's not a whole bunch of bugs around. Start by doing things that are fun, like going canoeing. You can make it romantic by taking a picnic, going out to find a Christmas tree. You can take them out to see a sunset or watch a sunrise. It's always beautiful on the top of a mountain, being able to see it rise above the top of the trees. Just make sure that you've got the right time, the right season. Make sure that you cater to them. If they need their coffee, make sure that you've got some way that you can heat up some coffee. Just be aware of their needs and be able to have what they need on hand so that they can be as comfortable as possible.
I think also a big key component to it is that just as you are trying to get her to express interest in your lifestyle and your hobbies and the things that you're passionate about, you also have to at the same time show them the same consideration by being interested and passionate about the things that they're passionate about. And so unfortunately, what that means is you have that trade-off where she comes out into the woods and spends time with you, whether a sunset, great idea, a picnic, or making a romantic campfire with some coffee and her favorite dessert or snack. And then the same trade-off is that you're going to have to probably go and do something that you don't enjoy but she loves, and that yeah, you maybe ended up getting a pedicure or going on a shopping trip. It's important that you show interest in her hobbies too if you're expecting her to show interest in what you're doing. We talked about marriage and getting our spouses involved, but what about kids? And as far as it's real easy sometimes for me to want to get Caleb and Trinity out and involved with me, but for a mom to be out there, she's naturally going to have those reserves about her kids getting hurt or something bad happening to them. And what are some things that a person can do to help incorporate their kids and their whole family with their wife in the outdoors so that the wife has peace and feels okay about the activities that are taking place?
If you take them somewhere safe, like don't take them to a cliff, obviously, where the kids can play and fall off.
Yeah, don't do what I do.
But, make sure that the wife is aware of the surroundings, that you're not taking her somewhere new, to just let the kids run around somewhere that she knows. Make sure if you're doing knife skills that you're right there alongside the kids, not just letting them walk around everywhere with a knife, that you're actually teaching them things that they need to know. And one of the big things is make sure that the wife hears you teach the kids about the safety. That way, if she sees them doing something unsafe, then she has every right to jump in and say that's not safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, too, a huge factor is that you keep it fun,
Yeah.
And we try to make it fun for our kids. And it's not always fun because you're wanting to educate them. But make sure for every minute that you're teaching them something, there's a minute where they're playing or being active. And that could be as simple as climbing on some trees, climbing on some rocks. And that
poking sticks in fire.
That may not be safe, but you got to let them test your boundaries because kids are going to get hurt. It's part of it. Katie, if you had any last advice to give the Dirt Time Adventures viewers, what kind of advice would you might give them in closing to help encourage them to incorporate their family into the outdoors?
I would say ask every time whether you expect an answer of yes or no. Just make sure that you're offering that up. Don't get discouraged if 10 times you hear no, because one time, you might have a suggestion that sounds interesting, so they might say yes. Just, keep changing things up. Make sure that you're not doing the same thing every time you go out. That way they're intrigued.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice. And so, guys, once again, this is a philosophy of incorporating your family into the outdoors. And here's the reality, is it matters. Because if you don't make your family a priority, someone else will. And so make sure that you're valuing them, that you're getting them involved, that you're expressing the same interest in their hobbies and their passions as you're expecting them to express an interest in yours. And make sure that you're making them a priority. Hey, big girl, you back? Where's your coat? It's too cold out here for that.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what it's about, guys. Get those kiddos out there. You found a penny, or is that a nickel? Did you find that in the woods? Wow. You got money. There must be a money tree around here. Is there a money tree around here?
My penny.
Oh. You dropped your penny. Guys, keep it practical, primitive, and prepared. What?